Good morning, my fellow freedom fighters, knights of freedom, sons and daughters of liberty, info warriors of the world. Welcome to another segment of walking on the Ryerson Station State Park Warpath. I had to get the sound of the crows calling in the morning. It's nothing like walking at sunrise and sunset. I call it magic time. Way many moons ago, before I started walking for the troops and patriotism, I was one of those guys that you would see out along the highway, stopped while the highway was full of traffic, flying 90 miles per hour. Some crazy guy was out getting a picture of nature. Yeah, that was me. And oh, by the way, after today's great 10-mile march for patriotism and freedom and the honor of our brave soldiers who have fought and died throughout the history of this great country, but most of all, I'm walking 3 miles for every soldier lost in this war on terror. I'm going to be at 8,706 6 miles in 5.5 years. We had a little storm last night. Yes, we've had a drought here in southwestern Pennsylvania, and I'm happy to say that it finally rained. Actually, one of the fastest moving storms in the history of the world probably flew in from Ohio in a matter of hours, and that's going to be the subject I'm going to talk about today. And I was just getting my car inspected the other day, and I was chatting with the mechanic and a guy who was getting his car inspected. We were talking about the drought and this unusual heat of this time of the year, and I threw out the reason why. And once again, you got to remember, when you throw the truth out to people and they don't want to hear it, you notice their eyes roll back a little bit in their head, like, oh God, I don't want to hear this, and their head goes back in the sand. And like my favorite saying, you can stick your head in the sand, but the world still revolves around your ass. And the moon and the sun have been setting and rising and I mean, the moon, you know, it's just in different places than in the history of the world. The moon is everywhere. It's like it's a wild card. You never know where you're gonna see it. And then, because in the old days you used to be able to tell where the sun and moon were always going to be, especially the sun. The sun always rose in the west, and rose in the east and sets in the west, you know. And it doesn't happen that way anymore. So I found this new talk show on the internet where finally I found someone who goes right for the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. No disrespecting Alex Jones or anything. I've talked to you guys about how, you know, Alex Jones is the champion of truth. He talks about all the great subjects we need to hear about, but I told you once a month I would have to go back and listen to William Cooper, a guy they killed in 2001 because he filled in all the blanks. Well, John Moore, the John Moore Show, fills in all the blanks where Alex Jones doesn't cover everything. I'm getting the whole truth out to you guys with John Moore and Steve Quell. Well, in this show, John Moore, in this blog, when you find my video, it's always the beginning of a blog on my website, and I don't know what I'm going to call it yet, but she talks about the sun rising and setting in the wrong places. Her name is Ann Morrison, expert on earth changes. She talks about how to survive in the heat. You know, John Moore, I don't know the history of him. I gotta look him up and see what, but he plays the Green Beret song a lot when he opens up his show. So he must have been a Special Forces guy. Definitely a great patriot in this info war. And he's the one that I always go to his show for the information on where the Russian troops are, because he has insiders, and he lets us know when 200 more Russian Special Forces land in an army base near you. Yes, the redcoats are here. The redcoats are here, as me and my sons and daughters of liberty are telling everybody we know about that, and to be prepared to start your own Alamo, basically, to get your Alamo ready for when the shit hits the fan. You and your friends find a safe place that you all go to. As soon as the shit hits the fan, you know where to go to. It's already stocked with ammo, food, water. You have to work on it now, my friends, because I've thought about it in my head, and if the shit does hit the fan and we have to all fall back to our own little Alamos, one out of 6, I think, this is I've been trying to figure it out in my brain, will make it through the devastation and what I call the Mad Max days, when all the lawless people will be trying to kill to get food, money, everything, robbing everybody. The lawless land will happen, and eventually the army will organize. The good army will fight the bad army, and they're gonna have to go through their little civil war while we're defending ourselves from each other. But God help us all if that happens, but we have to be prepared, because it might happen. And being prepared is what a Boy Scout does, and I'm the Boy Scout. I'm the last Boy Scout from the road. And no matter what, any way you look at it, I'm gonna talk about the Gulf of Mexico. Obama stopped it on purpose. There's no way around it. He's the greatest eco-terrorist in the history of the world, because the Dutch on the 3rd day have high-tech machines that could have skimmed the oil constantly, and he never let them in. Never let the specialist in to fix that spill, because they never wanted it to be fixed. They wanted to destroy the Gulf of Mexico, to cause all this devastation, all this. The jet stream has stopped and the Gulf Stream has stopped, my friends. There's no way around it, and you better tell your friends about that too. And I'm trying to light a fire under your ass. If you're not gonna walk for the troops, if you're not gonna walk with the flag, if you're not gonna do anything, the least you could do is get this asshole out of the White House for destroying the Gulf of Mexico. Not talking about Fukushima. He could be in jail right now for killing Americans. 9/11 was a fucking nothing compared to what's going on now with the Fukushima and the Gulf of Mexico. I'll see you guys in the next video. Pass my videos to your friends. Pass my website to your friends while we still have the freedom of speech. And because I am speaking the truth, I will be one of the ones they shut down first. I'll see you guys.